Hey Braves fans, and welcome all baseball fans. Today I'm going to be going over different lineup constructions that the Atlanta Braves could use this year. Let's check it out. So first off, we're going to take a look at what we think the realistic opening day lineup is going to look like for your 2024 Atlanta Braves. No question about it, leading off, reigning MVP, Ronald Acuna Jr. Listen, for at least the next 5 years, I would say no one else is going to be hitting in that number one spot, period. You will never be moved out of that spot again. So that is the easiest call in baseball. Ronald Acuna Jr. leading off. Batting second, Ozzie Albies. It's a given. Switch hitter, does a good job in the two-hole. He's not a high on-base guy. I get that. But he does drive in runs, and that's what he's up there for. And he's been in the two-hole, pretty much all of last year when the Braves had a historic offense. So he's going to remain there. Number 3, Austin Riley. Again, no questions here. He's got to hit in the 3-hole because we're going righty, switch, which is most of the time lefty, righty, lefty. So Riley hits in the 3-hole to break up the lefty hitters. And that leaves Matt Olson in the cleanup. Look, Matt Olson led the league in RBIs and home runs last year. So there's nowhere else he's hitting. 4-hole it is. In the 5-hole, Marcell Ozuna. Who knows what kind of a season we're going to have from Marcell Ozuna? Hopefully it's something somewhat similar to last year. Do I expect him to hit 40 bombs and 100 RBIs? No chance. But if he could hit 25 bombs and drive in 80 runs, that's a pretty good season. I would take that. And with this offense, he's going to have plenty of opportunities to do that. And this is what I'm excited for. In the 6-hole, Michael Harris II. That's right. He's finally going to get bumped up out of that 9-hole. I don't think Snit is going to leave him in there. As much as I love him in the 9-hole, I think Snit's going to utilize that 9-hole for somebody else. You probably already have a guess. But Michael Harris is going to move up into the 6-hole. And I think you've already seen it starting to play out in spring training. I think he's going to try to lift the ball more this year. Batting in front of Acuna, I really think his approach was more of a line drive approach. He's powerful enough to hit the ball on the line and get it out of the park. But really, he was just trying to hit the ball hard on a line, get on base, roll over the lineup, get back to the top of the order, and let those guys drive him in. Other thing that's going to change, he didn't try to steal very often when Acuna was in the box. Now that he's in the 6-hole, I think he's going to be off to the races this year because he doesn't have Acuna right behind him. The man he does have behind him is going to be Sean Murphy. Look, if we get first half Sean Murphy all year this year, you better watch out. This dude batting in the 7-hole, he could easily be a 4 or 5 hitter on any lineup in the majors. And he's going to be hitting in the 7-hole, okay? Now, yes, he struggled in the second half. A lot of that, I think, was getting used to Atlanta heat. Look at Matt Olson's first season in Atlanta. He had a long streak in the second half where I think he was like 1 for 51 or something like that. So learning how to play in Atlanta for a full season, he's going to do that. And I think he is going to have a phenomenal year. If you didn't see it, I have a top 10 bold predictions for the Atlanta Braves for 2024, and Sean Murphy is a part of that. Next up, in the 8-hole is Orlando Arcia. Arcia hit in the 8-hole last year, pretty much all year. He did a really good job. He was unbelievable in the first half. Definitely slowed down in the second half. If he can just have a little bit more consistent approach this year, he's going to be phenomenal there. No complaints. And that leaves Jared Kelenic in the 9-hole. Look, Kelenic likes to hit fastballs, and he can hit high-velocity fastballs. Put him in the 9-hole, stick him in front of Acuna, let him hit fastballs. The other thing is, different from Michael Harris in the 9-hole, Kelenic will draw walks. Michael Harris is a put the ball in play kind of guy. Kelenic, he's a much higher on base guy, and he will take his walks. So pitchers, they're going to have to be careful trying to pitch around him. They're not going to be able to. They're going to have to throw him strikes. And if he can just relax up there, let the ball come to him, and just do what he naturally does, he's going to have an unbelievable season out of the 9-hole. And he can really thank Acuna for that. So that was the realistic lineup. That's how I think the Braves are going to stack up on opening day. Let's take a look at some alternate lineups that they could potentially run with. This lineup is what I think would actually be the best lineup to use. And there's really only 2 switches. I think Michael Harris is going to have a monster season this year. And for that reason, I think the actual best lineup the Braves could utilize will be putting him in the 2-hole. So you've got Acuna leading off, Michael Harris in the 2-hole, Austin Riley in the 3-hole, Matt Olson, then Marcell Ozuna, then you've got Ozzie hitting in the 6-hole. So instead of Harris. So really, the only switch is Ozzie and Michael swapping in the lineup. I could see Snit doing this sometimes throughout the season, especially if Ozzie kind of struggles from the left side a little bit. We know he crushes when he hits from the right side, but sometimes he struggles from the left side, although he was phenomenal last year. Hopefully he carries that over. But I think Harris is just going to rake in the 2-hole. He's going to drive the ball. He's going to drive in a ton of people. He's going to score a bunch of runs. And he's going to get on base so Ozzie can drive him in at the end. So again, you got Ozzie in the 6-hole. You got Sean Murphy hitting 7th still. Orlando Arcia in the 8-hole. And again, I love Jared Kelenic in the 9-hole. He's going to rake down there. All right, let's look at some fun alternative lineups that the Braves absolutely could run with. Now, with this first one, I took an interesting approach. The Braves lineup is so deep, especially with power hitters, that I tried to break the lineup into 2 separate 1 through 4 hitters. And the Braves' second 1 through 4 hitters could easily be the 1 through 4 hitters on a ton of other teams in the league. So let's check this out. Again, Acuna in the 1-hole. Now, I put Kelenic in the 2-hole because I think he's going to get a ton of pitches to hit in that 2-hole. And that, I think in the top 1 through 4 section, he just fit better than in the bottom one. Just because he has more questions, I think he's going to get more pitches to hit in that 2-hole if the Braves went with this lineup. So Acuna 1, Kelenic 2, Austin Riley 3rd, Matt Olson 4th. That's your first 1 through 4. Your second 1 through 4 goes like this. Ozzie Albies is the leadoff guy. I could see Albies hitting leadoff plenty for the Braves if Acuna wasn't there. So you've got Albies in the 5-hole or the second leadoff. Michael Harris in the 6-hole or the second 2-hole. You got Sean Murphy, who has plenty of pop, hitting in the 7-hole or the second 3-hole. And then Marcell Ozuna in the 8 spot or the second cleanup hitter. I mean, seriously, that's 2 different 1 through 4 lineups that the Braves could roll out there back to back and just mash with. And then, of course, you got Orlando Arcia. You throw him in at the 9-hole. It is what it is. I still think he could have a great year hitting in front of Acuna. He hits fastballs really well, too. So if he gets a bunch of fastballs in that 9-hole, he could have a great year. But 2 separate 1 through 4s. Acuna, Kelenic, Riley, Olson. Then Albies, Harris, Murphy, and Ozuna. That would be a fun lineup to watch hit. All right, and our second fun lineup that I've got goes like this. You got Acuna in the 1-hole. We bump Austin Riley up to the 2-hole. Matt Olson in the 3-hole. And then you put Ozzie Albies in the 4-hole. I know that sounds crazy, but Albies has hit cleanup a lot for the Braves. And he has a ton of pop, and he really drives the ball despite his size. okay? You put him behind those guys are going to get on base. Ozzie hits extra base hits. He's going to drive those guys in. Then you go Michael Harris in the 5-hole. And really, I put him there so they couldn't bring a lefty in to face Olsen, because then they'd have to go lefty Olsen, righty Ozzie, and back to Harris with another lefty. So Harris will be in the 5-hole. Then that bumps Marcel down to the 6-hole. You got Sean Murphy in the 7-hole, and Arcia hitting 8, and Jared Kelenic hitting 9th. I think that would be a fun lineup too. Well, thanks for checking out my video, just running through some different lineup constructions that the Atlanta Braves could go with in 2024. There's so many options. This team is unbelievably loaded. Really, you could put the names in a hat and draw them out 1 through 9, and whatever they came out as would be just fine of a lineup to put together and run with on a game day. That's how insanely talented this team is. I'm looking forward to 2024. I hope you are as well. And as always, go Braves.